All right, so Change Your Frequency Hypnosis podcast. We're here joined by Greg from NordVaka Hypnosis. Greg, thanks for coming on today and talking with us about what's going on in your world. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It's been a hot minute since we were crowded around the table in our hypnosis education certification class. We blinked and it's been months now. I can't believe how fast it's gone.
It's been, it's connected. Oh, my two smartphones are now connected.
That means we're cooking with gas. All right.
No, that's right. We are definitely cooking with gas. Hopefully we're not talking on the smartphone.
Well, it's listening to us anyways, let's be honest.
Been a whirlwind. In fact, I was trying to take stock of this the other day, kind of like everything that's transpired from where I started, where some of my other, I'll call them litter mates in the academy have gone, where their journeys have been, and how many things I've changed so rapidly. I think first and foremost, some conceptions just coming out of that experience. Like, here's what hypnotizing clients is going to be like. What's really cool is just how much I've been able to get my hands dirty with it. It blows my mind what I've been able to help people.
Well, it's funny, right? So what was so interesting to me about participating with you is we're both these sort of very analytical, logical brains, right? Come from an IT background. I come from a tax and IT background. And so here we are doing what a lot of people would consider woo-woo type of things. But I think
for sure,
one of the things that we found is there's nothing really woo-woo about the subconscious mind. It's there. I think finding the scientific part of it is always really helpful too. I'm more interested in the stories of those who you've been helping and what kind of problems you've been tackling and what some of the outcomes have been. I know some of it's been around procrastination and vaping, all sorts of different things. Maybe tell me, what was your most surprising and interesting experience to date? And what were the sort of challenges and outcomes?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would say my very first client. I'll focus on the challenges, namely because your first client, there's an intimidation factor there. She had a lot of fear in terms of being vulnerable, being in trance work. So she had, and before I kind of tell everyone what her issues were, in her past, she'd had bad shamanic experiences, it turns out. And so she looked at kind of my branding, NordVaka, we're this, we have a spiritual basis to what we do that has proof in neuroscience, like it's real stuff. It's not compatible with being woo-woo because it's real. Right. It's real. But she was worrying about, what am I going to conjure up? Like, what's going to happen in hypnosis? And this relates a lot to her real presenting issue. Her big one is trust and anxiety. Who knows the geography of the area? I'm in Stanwood, Washington. This is kind of a idyllic little Scandinavian town. In fact, that's what the sign says right outside my business. It's literally one of those communities, like nothing happens here. Arlington, which is kind of the next community over, stone's throw away, right? And here or there is beautiful. It's just, you just sort of zone out, look at the trees, it's wonderful. She had just getting to her first appointment was overwhelming for her. So she was so terrified of being in downtown Stanwood. Downtown Stanwood consists of like 4 buildings that are like 120 years old.
We're not like walking down New York City. We're not on Madison Avenue.
I saw her here, and her first session was a lot for her. She had a big roller coaster of stuff, and that was just to try and get her to relax. Nothing, no real deep work. And so that was a little much for her. So she was not sure. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to move forward. What I've learned since then, and this true, this first client, is that first session can have such a cathartic effect on people and that they may not be ready for that tsunami of what happens.
Right.
Even somebody else I'm working with said, I don't know if I can come in again.
Right.
And, she changed her mind. But what we decided was we'll work remotely.
Okay. More comfortable. Got it.
Well, we actually live pretty close to each other, it turns out. I actually have to wait to come to my office to work with her remote. It's kind of funny.
Right.
So we worked through trauma she had, to events that happened to her later on in life, a loss of a donkey she had in her 20s, putting somebody she should have trusted who didn't, and just really horrific things. And then things going into how her mother treated her. I don't diagnose people, but she got mistreated by her. You learn a lot of things. People can be really cruel to one another.
Absolutely.
And so we did the whole 5-path arc. What was going on in her life? She's in her late 60s at this point. She is trying to move on in life, right? She wants to go on to the next thing, but she's just sort of held on to anxiety. She keeps small and huddled. She wants to go and move to Europe.
So she can't drive to downtown Stanwood, which is 4 buildings. And we want, our soul is pulling us to Europe. So that's a challenge.
So 3 weeks after we were done, and I had to work with her on a condensed schedule.
Right.
She had her visa processing finished. Her house is sold. She's in Portugal now.
That's amazing.
She is traveling, and I'm friends with her on Facebook. She's traveling all over Europe. She is at this point now finally getting to see the world. She hasn't been able to do this. She's been terrified of everything and everyone.
Yeah. It's a big jump from not being able to drive downtown to moving to Portugal, right? That's a pretty significant shift. We are our biggest challenge. It's our own blocks, clearing that out of the way. Your approach is all about personalized magic. Can you tell me a little bit about what does that mean? That sounds like magic to me. Couldn't drive downtown. Now I'm in Portugal. Talk to me about personalized magic.
It's really, and this person will be the first to admit, she said this once, I didn't go down easy. She made me work for it.
Sure.
But the personalized magic is nothing more than changing this perception that you need something external to fix you. So when you think of, and I don't want to ruin, if you over-explain hypnosis to people,
right. We don't need to get into the nitty-gritty of it because we don't.
It's helpful to understand a roadmap, and that's what I provide people. In general, there's an expectation of hypnosis that I'm just going to sit there and talk you to death.
Right.
The first couple of sessions, that is very much what the experience can be like. There's a lot of me talking you through, but really all that is teaching you to get into a hypnotic state. The individualization comes from the person themselves, and that's the magical part. They are hypnotizing themselves. Anything that I help is supplementary aftercare, things like that, are all based on, I have notes of everything together and customize that so that we're hammering on the presenting issues, reinforcing the neural pathways to keep doing the positive things we want. The effect is as if it's effortless, right? I'm borrowing on magic in that sense. It's not that it's unexplainable. It was just so easy.
Well, if, hypnosis will work, why don't I just go online and download a bunch of recorded hypnosis things and then I'll just do it that way. And I think what you're doing is really personalizing the message. It's not really a one size fits all. We are all unique in terms of what our challenges are and what we're working through, what our blocks are. So that personalization is pretty critical in terms of uncovering those things versus some, download from an app somewhere.
Well, in all likelihood, anyone watching this has interacted with an app, Headspace or Reverie, or they've skipped along any number of videos, listen to the sound of my voice going deeper and deeper. And I've been there too. And those things are very useful, but they're not calibrated. You can't do really deep work if you're stuck. I look at it this way. It's kind of like we're personal trainers. I manage things that I had going on with me neurologically, trying by going down that route and then realizing I need more. And that's how I'm doing this, because I needed more. Now I need to do more with it. But it's helpful. But to really get to the root of certain things, there's just a certain amount of deep work you can't do with an app. You can't have a dialogue with it. And with AI safety issues, you don't really want to.
Who knows what the suggestions would be, right?
You want to talk to an app when you're in a hypnotic state. And I actually have a podcast on that, when your therapist is an AI. And not to be overly scaring people, but it's part of this, and why this actually works is because of the ability of another human being to bear witness for another.
Yeah.
To understand what it is to feel the weight of things. And people overuse the word empathy. This isn't just empathy. This is understanding where you are at with what is going on. Apps make you feel good. You feel relaxed, but it's not enough if it's not about you.
I'm seeing a lot of, and I think we experienced this when we were in school, right? The issues that a lot of people have, like people pleasing, just this challenge of guilt. I joke sometimes that I'm a recovering Catholic, right? I feel like it just comes naturally to me to feel guilty. And I know that you've worked with some clients that have that same challenge. A standard app might give you some suggestions. It might put you in a relaxed state, but really getting to the root cause of where did that come from and why are you carrying that baggage around with you? Tell me a little bit about that, your experience to date, helping clients with things like that, where you're kind of using 5-path and getting to some of those root issues to deconstruct them, right? So that they can be processed and then they can maybe move on with a different experience of life.
Yeah, there's different informing techniques. That's really what that's about, that I've applied in the context of this life experience. That's what the boundaries are commonly working in, to reinform from the conscious mind, the adult perspective, right? I know better. I can see it from a different perspective than my 3-year-old self could, for example, and understand the event for what it was, or have empathy in a way I couldn't as a 3-year-old, because we have a different level of consciousness as we're younger beings.
Right.
And then letting go of those limiting beliefs as a result. Now, some of my clients spontaneously, when you bring them back to where are these things that are blocking you, these, like you mentioned, the Catholic trauma, where are these things? Some of them end up in limbo. Like for a lot of those clients, they're kind of in this existential crisis area. Not to put labels on people, but I don't know what else to call it other than this quest for what does it all mean?
Right.
What I find typical of those folks is they are exactly as you described. There's some sort of framework they're not living up to, usually a religious, social one.
Right.
Relationships that are not working. They don't understand. They give everything and get nothing back.
Right.
Very sensitive. They're struggling with too many behaviors. I shouldn't drink like this. I shouldn't smoke like this. I shouldn't eat like this. I shouldn't spend like this. And 5-path is where people will come to me for one of the too many behaviors. And what we end up doing is we end up addressing, now why?
Right. Because that's the symptom, right? The too much behavior is a symptom of something. You're trying to remediate something. You're trying to kill the pain or medicate it with food or too much busyness or shopping, right? But there's something you're trying to avoid in that too much behavior. I think a lot of people are like, well, no, I just need to fix the behavior. The behavior is a sign that there's something that's not working in life.
When you're there are people that can drink and there are people that can't drink. And then there's drinking too much. I would argue nobody should smoke. And I would argue people should definitely eat. That we want to encourage eating, but not too much eating.
Right.
But there is this concept of a distraction is okay when you understand its utility. and it sort of has an expiration date, right? Because it doesn't go on forever and ever. When you get into hypnosis, when you become really like a ninja at this stuff, right? I had someone come in and do a testimonial yesterday in this chair over here. She's done soul regression, bypass, quit smoking, all this stuff. She does self-hypnosis through all the aftercare. She can go into a hypnotic state in 3 seconds. We did it while we were in the interview. She was right there, and then she came right back out again. And so people just learn how to do this as they go through the process. They get to where they can calm themselves. They get to where they can get grounded really easily. It's really humbling to watch.
Right. Now, you mentioned aftercare. What does that mean? So I think people assume, right, I come in, we do our sessions, I walk out, session 5, and I'm cured of my too much behavior, or I've moved to Portugal, right? And then I'm done, right? I'm cured. Talk to me about aftercare and what that means and what you've seen as a result of doing that for people.
What it looks like is the way I treat every client interaction is really about what is the outcome. People are coming to me because they have a problem. Now, I can talk all these things about 5-path and these other issues, but you came to me to quit smoking.
Right.
And people are grateful for all this other stuff, but you came to me to quit smoking. Now, you didn't come to me to quit smoking while you were being hypnotized, and
Right.
only being hypnotized has to like sort of go a lot longer than just being hypnotized. So in between sessions, and this is where I try and help people understand, I have some programs that are 1 or 2 sessions, but for things like this, the packages differ depending on what's going on. And when we do an evaluation, it might be 5 sessions, it just depends. So in between sessions, within 24 hours of when you come in for a hypnosis appointment, you will receive a hypnosis audio based on what I'll call course corrections. There's an intake during every hypnosis session where I talk to you. I get to understand how you've been reacting to the last adjustments to you and see where you're at. And then we calibrate what's happening in the live hypnosis session that day to tweak things as needed. And then there's a supplementary audio that I'll record that evening typically, or sometimes the very next morning, early in the morning. I'll publish that to that person in an individual podcast that they can either subscribe to or listen to it in a browser, but it's individualized to them with instructions. They keep that forever. Now, they'll usually end up with 6, 7, 8. Some of these will be meditation exercises that'll have them do. That'll be attuned to their specific presenting issue. So if there's someone dealing with stopping smoking, that'll be very different from someone dealing with trying to relieve their tinnitus or pain management or atopic dermatitis. What are they working with?
Yeah.
And so I custom record those every time.
Tell us something that has surprised you over these past couple of months and in sort of this journey. I mean, I think there was your perspective of what it was going to look like prior, and now you're in the middle of it. What are some of your favorite experiences to date in terms of your clients and what they're walking away with? I mean, Portugal seems huge. Stopping smoking is huge. These are things people struggle with over decades. These are big deals.
There was a client of mine, she's in her late 70s and struggled with alcohol, but she's sober just under 2 years, so newly sober, and in this gray area of trying to connect to her family who have kept their distance over the years. All of those decades of not really understanding how to build relationships or how to talk or understand. If you think about a woman, she's 78 years old, and we're dealing with, okay, now, are you responding to my texts? And what does it mean when they do this? And to her credit, she's actually pretty navigable. She's not, some things confuse her, but not too much.
Right.
But the customs or lack of a confuse her. So she kind of was in that bucket of like, I don't know why I'm here.
Right.
I think you can help me. Okay, I know exactly what to do when somebody says that. So I got her in the chair and we looked at sort of where is she, because I know that's people pleasing. I know exactly what that is. It's people pleasing, and why is she doing it, and getting to those issues. It's almost like it's the same set of things that people are always struggling and hiding, like sexually assaulted, abusive mother, abandoned father, you name it. Right.
Yeah.
Mm. And so I had to remind her, and this is where hypnosis had really helped her realize who she is. I said, you are at the pyramid of this whole family. She's got all this positivity. She has struggled and worked her butt off to provide for her whole family.
Right.
Now she sees herself in a different light. Her relationships are turned around through her honesty and her example. Her son, who apparently had a 20-year addiction to cocaine, is now getting help.
He's watched her.
It's like when one of these people turn around, it's contagious.
Right.
That's been the profound thing. That's been the unexpected thing. Their daughter is happier, their son's happier.
Right. There's a ripple effect that happens across the entire family when one person decides to up level or change. I think the most profound thing I've heard about people pleasing is you can't trust a people pleaser because you never know who they really are. Right? Sure, we'll do that. Let me do that for you. Most people pleasers would be like, what do you mean you can't trust me? It's like, you're not being authentic and you're not being honest. And they're like, well, but I'm helping. It's like, well, are you? Because maybe what the world needs is to know the real you. But that's, it's protective mechanism. It's what we learn to do based on experiences in the past. And we just perpetuate that apparently for 70 years. It can go on a long time before we realize.
Yeah, she should honestly write a book, and had to take care of her siblings when she was 11 years old. Just unreal. It's humbling. We heard this in class, right? We are not the first people come to.
No. It's like the last resort, right? It's like I've tried everything else. I've tried the medication, the talk therapy, meditation, all of the things. And it's just like, what now? And it's like, well, not to dork out and get into our computer code, but you've got some bad programming up in there, right? We need to go in and maybe extract the bad code and put some new stuff in there. We need to reconfigure a little bit.
Yeah, it's just going to EMP it.
I mean, it's not a magic button, right? You got to show up to the session, do the aftercare, do your part of it. But really, there's a reason why you keep hitting your head against the wall. It's because you're not getting to the part that needs to be updated, I guess we could say.
Yeah, it's real easy to get up to the feel good, relaxed part. And now we're getting into the work part. And that's why that aftercare is so paramountly important, because you can't leave your client just hanging.
Right.
I don't ascribe to this notion of, here's a hypnosis recording, $25. Here's a hypnosis recording.
Right.
Subscribe to my blah, 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 blah. That has nothing to do with you, by the way. It's just, I made it once 12 years ago and wash, rinse, and like, okay. I honestly think that is kind of some of the stuff that gives the profession that
negative connotation,
ideal image. Because if we say that self-hypnosis is a skill that you can teach people, which is a big part of the mission here, then why would you need those things? It's so easy for me to sit down, spend a little bit of time after I talk to somebody for an hour or so, gotten to know them over weeks, and tell them a story in a hypnotic voice. It seems senseless to do anything else.
Absolutely. But tell me, if people want to find you and book some time with you to learn more about your methods and to see if it's right for them, how do they find you? Where do they go?
Oh my goodness. You can find us in a bunch of different places. The easiest one is go to our website at NordVaka.com, and you're going to spell that incorrectly.
Spell it for us.
NordVaka.com. So NordVaka.com. And you can also search us on Facebook Instagram, NordVaka Hypnosis Incorporated. We're also on Twitter. I believe that's it. I think I have all the normal socials. Oh, also, I have a YouTube channel, NordVaka Hypnosis, and you'll see some of my content up there.
Well, this has been awesome. Thanks for catching up with me. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to hear more about what you get into and what you're discovering. So thanks for making time for us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Barry. Cheers.
Cheers.